52,000 Christians have been murdered in Nigeria. Why is nobody talking about it? More than 19,000 churches have been destroyed and millions of believers have been displaced from their homes by Islamic extremists. Nigeria has become one of the most dangerous places in the world to be a Christian. Human rights groups estimates more than 52,000 Christians have been killed in the country since 2009. 2025 alone, more than 7,000 Christians have already been murdered and thousands kidnapped. Despite the scale of the crisis, it has drawn little global attention. On 26th September's episode of HBO's Real Time, host Bill Maher highlighted the lack of coverage and becoming one of the only national news shows to cover the crisis. Their attacks are concentrated in Nigeria's Middle Belt and northern states, where armed groups storm villages, kill men, abduct women and children, torch crops, and burn churches. Islamist extremists such as Boko Haram and ISIS affiliates are responsible for many raids. Militant Fulani herdsmen have been linked to assault on predominantly Christian farming communities, forcing families from their land. Survivors describe fleeing burning homes with nothing. Pastors have been kidnapped during services. Congregations have been massacred while gathered for worship. Catholic leaders say more than 100 priests have been abducted in the past decade, many never returning. The Nigerian government has promised investigations, but accountability has been rare. After an attack this summer left more than 100 Christians dead in Benue State, Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu condemned the killings and pledged justice. Months later, no perpetrators have been brought to trial. Rights groups accuse security forces of responding too slowly or failing to act at all. Meanwhile, millions of Christians are displaced inside Nigeria. Rep. Chris Smith of New Jersey has said at least 5 million Nigerians, mostly Christians, have been forced into camps or across borders. Some estimates put the number as high as 12 million. Families that once lived on farmland now depend on aid in temporary shelters. Outside advocacy circles, the crisis is often described as farmer-herder clashes. Language critics says minimizes the religious dimensions of the violence. Open Doors, a watchdog group, ranks Nigeria 7th on its 2025 World Watch list of countries where Christians face the most extreme danger. The organization estimates Nigeria accounts for more than 80% of Christian deaths worldwide. For many Christians in Nigeria, faith continues under constant threat. Displaced congregations gather in makeshift shelters. Clergy preach despite knowing they could be targeted. Families share scriptures in camps to maintain hope. This frustration echoed what church leaders and advocates have said for years. A humanitarian crisis is unfolding, but the world has yet to respond with urgency. Still, several Christian organizations are doing what they can do to reach persecuted believers around the world. Groups like Global Christian Relief provide food, shelter, clothing, and medical supplies, as well as trauma-based care for thousands of Nigerians in need. On the other hand, a push by US Republican senators to blacklist Nigeria for religious freedom violation has reignited the debate over an alleged matter. Nigerian government has strongly rejected the label, arguing the country faces a national security crisis of terrorism and banditry that affects all faith, not just one. Experts and local leaders argue the violence is fundamentally a form of harder conflicts driven by climate change, competition for resources, and weak governance. Both Christians and Muslims communities are victims, and critics warn that framing the complex crisis as purely religious distorts reality, risks inflaming sectarian tensions. It is about darkness in religion. Till next time, Arego.